I think what's important to understand about our rookies, though, and you all see them, you all know them, they're not only really good players, they're really good people. And they will be the cornerstone with which we'll build and grow and develop this winning team. But I think it would be short-sighted to not just look at free agency, not just look at the draft.
From a business standpoint, you got a person who is one of the most popular people in the world at this point. And this conversation about what people are talking about, just trade them. The Browns aren't sure. The Browns aren't sure about this. Let me tell you what Jimmy Haslam is sure about. Jimmy Haslam, you don't get to be a billionaire by being a dummy. You don't get to be a billionaire without understanding some aspects of business. Shedeur Sanders, let me just say this. It does not matter what any of these quarterbacks do, ever. Anybody you draft will not have the interest level, will not have the fan base, will not have the presence, the charisma, and they don't even have the skill set. So as a businessman, you just sat there and watched this dude in 3 weeks drop dime after dime after dime after dime with no surrounding roster, with no reps. And you also watch the numbers in the market and the marketplace and how many jerseys it done sold. And you watch the number of fans that are interested. And you watch how many people want to see the football games and how he has a global fan base. Why would any business owner in their world not attach themselves to that? It's the reciprocation process.
Cleveland Browns just made a franchise-altering decision that could change everything for Shedeur Sanders. Owner Jimmy Haslam's words today might have revealed the team's true intentions moving forward. While the headlines focus on Kevin Stefanski getting fired, Haslam dropped a major clue about the rookie class Andrew Berry drafted. And when you read between the lines, this could be the biggest endorsement Shedeur has received since arriving in Cleveland. The GM who personally selected Shedeur just got his job saved, while the coach who benched him got shown the door. Coincidence? Absolutely not. What Haslam said about these rookies being really good people and the cornerstone of their future might have just locked in Shedeur's path to becoming Cleveland's franchise quarterback. Here's the thing, when major news breaks in the NFL, you need to listen not just to what's being said, but what's being left unsaid. Today, the Browns held press conferences that appeared routine on the surface. Kevin Stefanski's out, Andrew Berry stays. Seems straightforward, right? Wrong, because buried in those statements was a crystal clear message about exactly where this franchise is heading with Shedeur Sanders. Let me break down what happened today in a way nobody else is covering, because the mainstream media is completely missing what's really going on here.
I think we saw a lot of progress with Shedeur this year. I think that's both mentally, physically, playing the position. He's still very much a work in progress, like many rookie quarterbacks are. But I think we saw some really good things in terms of his playmaking, his accuracy, his ability to extend with his feet. And I think I'd also give...
First, let's talk about Andrew Berry. The general manager who handpicked Shedeur Sanders in the draft just went on record about the rookie quarterback, and what he said should have every Shedeur supporter feeling encouraged right now. Berry publicly stated he saw significant progress with Shedeur this year, both mentally and physically. He praised Shedeur's playmaking ability, his accuracy, and his ability to extend plays with his legs. But here's the critical part. Berry specifically highlighted Shedeur's pocket management and situational awareness. Let that sink in for a moment. Those are veteran-level traits. We're talking about pocket management and situational awareness, qualities you rarely see praised in a rookie quarterback who barely got first-team reps during the offseason. Berry knows what he's evaluating. This isn't just GM speak designed to protect his draft pick. This is someone who watches film daily, who understands what it takes to succeed at quarterback in this league, and he's telling you directly that Shedeur showed him something legitimate this season. Now, Berry did acknowledge that Shedeur is still very much a work in progress like most rookies, and that's a fair, honest assessment. But let's not overlook the context here. What rookie quarterback wouldn't be developing when they're thrown into the dysfunction that defined the 2025 Cleveland Browns? No consistent offensive line, no clear offensive identity, a head coach who refused to give him a real shot at the starting job from day one. Shedeur was basically set up to fail, and yet, somehow he still found ways to flash real potential. Barry also mentioned they're going to explore the quarterback market. Yeah, that probably made some fans nervous, but here's what you need to understand. That's standard operating procedure. Every NFL team says that when they haven't officially locked in their franchise quarterback yet. It's standard. The real story isn't that they're exploring options. The real story is that Barry couldn't hide his respect for what Shedeur accomplished, despite the chaos surrounding him. But hold on, this gets even more telling when you hear what Jimmy Haslam had to say. Haslam stood up today and defended his decision to keep Andrew Barry as general manager. And the way he defended it, that's where you really need to pay attention. Haslam didn't just talk about Barry's moves in general terms, he got specific. He talked about the draft class. He talked about how they added 4 quality football players who made all rookie teams. He mentioned how Carson Beck has a legitimate shot at Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then Haslam said something that should make every Shedeur fan take notice. He said, and I quote, "What's important to understand about our rookies, though, they're not only really good players, they're really good people, and they will be the cornerstone with which we'll build and grow and develop this winning team." The cornerstone. Think about those words for a second. Haslam just told you that these rookies, including Shedeur Sanders, are the foundation they're building on. Not temporary pieces, not stopgaps. The cornerstone. That's franchise-defining language, and he said it with complete conviction. Now, some might argue he was talking about all the rookies, not specifically Shedeur. Sure, technically, but let's be realistic about something. When you're talking about building a winning team in the NFL, what's the single most important position? Quarterback. Always has been, always will be. You don't build a championship contender without solving your quarterback situation. So when Haslam says these rookies are the cornerstone, he's essentially telling you the quarterback position is part of that foundation. And who's the only quarterback in that rookie class? Exactly.
He didn't want Shedeur. I believe he was sabotagey to Shedeur, especially in first and goal situations when he kept going wildcat so that Shedeur wouldn't score a touchdown. And the decks are now cleared for a young man who I believe proved, despite all those numbers you just read, that he is who the Cleveland Browns have been looking for at quarterback.
But here's where this story gets even more interesting, and this is the connection nobody's really making yet. Haslam made a point to emphasize that these rookies aren't just good players, they're good people. He kept repeating it. Really good person, quality person. He talked about Malik Collins being a leader. He praised Dustin Hopkins for persevering through early struggles. He highlighted Tyson Campo playing through injury when the team was fighting just to win their 5th game, not even competing for playoff positioning. Why does this matter? Because Cleveland has had a culture problem for years, decades actually. They've had talented players come through who either didn't fit, caused locker room issues, or couldn't handle the pressure of playing for the Browns. Haslam is sending a very clear message. The character of these rookies mattered just as much as their talent. And when you look at Shedeur Sanders, what do you see? A young man who handled being benched with class. A quarterback who never publicly complained about not getting first-team reps. A leader who earned his teammates' respect despite being thrown into an impossible situation. Haslam called these rookies really good people multiple times. That's not accidental. That's not empty coach speak. That's the owner of the franchise telling you exactly what he values. And Shedeur Sanders embodies every single quality he's describing. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Kevin Stefanski getting fired while Andrew Barry stays. What does that tell you? It tells you that ownership identified where the real problem was. Stefanski had control over how the quarterback situation was handled during the season. Stefanski decided not to give Shedeur a real fair quarterback competition during training camp. Stefanski kept putting out veteran quarterbacks who clearly weren't the answer, while Shedeur sat on the bench watching his rookie season slip away. And what happened when Shedeur finally got his opportunity? He beat Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Then he turned around and beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals. As a rookie, with no first-team reps during the offseason, with an offensive line that couldn't protect him, with receivers who looked like they'd never practiced together. Shedeur made that team look competent when they had no business being competent. Barry saw that. Haslam saw that, and that's exactly why Barry still has a job while Stefanski doesn't. Think about the message this sends moving forward. Haslam essentially said Kevin Stefanski was holding back the players Andrew Barry brought in, and we're not tolerating that anymore. That's a massive vote of confidence in Barry's evaluation skills, which means it's a massive vote of confidence in the players Barry drafted, including and especially Shedeur. Looking ahead to 2026, here's what we're likely to see. The Browns will probably bring in a veteran quarterback. Maybe they sign someone in free agency, maybe they make a trade. And when that happens, a lot of people are going to panic and say, see, they don't believe in Shedeur. But that's the wrong way to interpret it. What Shedeur's supporters have wanted all along wasn't for the job to be handed to him. We wanted a fair competition. We wanted him to get first-team reps. We wanted him to have an actual chance to prove himself without a coach who had already made up his mind. And now, with Stefanski gone and a new coaching staff coming in, Shedeur is going to get exactly that. He'll enter 2026 with a full year of NFL experience under his belt, 7 actual games where he faced real NFL defenses and proved he belongs. He'll have chemistry with receivers, he'll understand the speed of the game, he'll have an entire fan base behind him because they've seen what he can do when given an opportunity. Any quarterback they bring in won't have those advantages. They'll be learning a new system, building chemistry with new teammates, trying to win over a fan base that's already rallied around Shedeur. The competition won't be rigged this time because the coach who was rigging it is gone. Barry made it clear that Shedeur is still developing, and that's exactly what you want to hear from a GM. He's not overhyping. He's not making promises he can't keep. He's being realistic about where Shedeur is in his development, while also praising the genuine progress he's witnessed. That's how you build a quarterback. That's how you develop a franchise player.
Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round when you already have a plethora of quarterbacks to go along with it.
Chris, one of the questions I got during the break on PFTPM was to identify all the quarterbacks throughout the league who are on the hot seat this year.
Yeah.
And for Cleveland, I said all of them. There's a chance all of them will be gone next year or not in position to start. I mean, with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, they have slotted rookie contracts that make them very affordable. They could be there as a backup, but to the extent any of them that play this year.
And Haslam just told the entire organization and every Browns fan watching that these rookies, these really good people who will be the cornerstone of the team, are untouchable. They're the foundation. Everything else gets built around them. Here's what people don't understand about Cleveland. This franchise has been searching for a quarterback 3-4 decades. They've tried everything. First-round picks that busted, free agent signings that didn't work out, trades that exploded in their faces. They've been desperate, and that desperation led to bad decisions. But something changed this year. They drafted Shedeur Sanders, and even though the situation around him was terrible, he gave them something they haven't had in years: hope. You could feel it in the stadium when Shedeur was playing. You could hear it in the way teammates talked about him. You could see it in the way the fan base rallied around him even when things looked darkest. That's not something you can manufacture. That's not something you can fake. Shedeur brought life to a franchise that's been on life support for decades, and ownership knows it.
So when Haslam stands up there and talks about building around rookies who are really good people, when Barry praises Shedeur's progress and development, when Stefanski gets fired while the GM who drafted Shedeur keeps his job, you don't need to be a genius to connect the dots. The Browns have found their guy. They might not say it out loud yet. They might explore other options to be thorough, but the writing's on the wall. Shedeur Sanders is going to be given every opportunity to prove he's the franchise quarterback Cleveland's been searching for. No more excuses, no more being held back by coaches who don't believe, no more watching from the sidelines while mediocre veterans get chance after chance. The kid who was dealt a terrible hand and still managed to beat Hall of Fame quarterbacks is about to get the fair shot he's deserved all along. And honestly, that should terrify the rest of the AFC North. Because if Shedeur plays with a real offensive line, with a coaching staff that actually believes in him, with a full offseason of first-team reps, the Browns might have just found the answer to their decades-long question at the most important position in football. The biggest question now is this: Do you think the Browns should go all in on Shedeur as their franchise quarterback, or should they bring in a veteran to compete with him? And be honest, after everything we've seen this year, who really deserves the starting job more? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is about to get real interesting over the next few months.